Hey y'all, welcome back. Army here with Army is Able. You already know I'm bringing it to you. So today we have an oldie but goodie, but it is a heartbreaking story about a man cheating on his wife, the best friend taking up for her. So you're really going to see her actually telling the story time. But I did a little bit of digging on the internet and it never disappoints. I actually found the friend she was referring to and the mistress. Y'all, let's get into it.
Okay guys, you want a story time? Let's do it. I do just want to start off by saying that obviously this video really blew up, got a lot of attention, and there are people who want us to stop. They don't want us to put this information out there. Obviously people are hiding. While I get it, the story must be shared. However, we did hear that the other woman in this story has received over 1,000 death threats, and I just want to make that clear on Kristen and I's behalf that we do not in any way, shape, or form wish death on either one of them. That's just not the goal here. I'm simply just sharing the truth, seeking a little bit of justice. So here we go. A couple of years ago, Kristen and her husband and daughter sold all of their things and renovated a bus to live in and traveled all over the country. They had a pretty big following on YouTube, Instagram. TikTok was getting there. It was under #1 bus, which since all of this has been deleted. Last summer, they decided to meet up with a married couple and a single guy who also lived in a bus, and they traveled around together, stayed on the same property as each other for 3 months. One of their first videos that they posted all together, my friend, her husband, as well as the other woman and the other woman's husband, I right away noticed some weird chemistry between my best friend's husband and the other woman who was married. However, I did just make a note of it, didn't think too far into it, and moved on. Right around September of last year, my best friend called me and she said, "How much time do you have? And if you have a best friend, you all know what that means." She then proceeded to say how her husband was starting unnecessary fights and he was hanging out at the other buses really late at night. And she then was led to go through his text messages and found some stuff deleted in the thread with the other woman. There was nothing set in stone, but you could tell parts of the conversation were missing, and even the stuff that was left up was extremely inappropriate. You could definitely tell that there was either something that had happened or was going to happen. Either way, Kristen was really upset. She confided in her husband and the other woman, who she thought was her friend, and both conveniently had the same story. The story was that the other woman had confided in Kristen's husband about the ways that she was upset with Kristen, and she didn't want Kristen to see what she had said about her. And that's where we're going to run out of time. Stay tuned for part 2.
Sneaky, sneaky.
They both swore up and down nothing was going on, that she was looking too far into it, but ultimately Kristen had decided that it was best to leave this group, go back home to Florida, and try to work on things and fix her marriage. At this point, she was really angry. She did feel like the trust was broken, even though she couldn't really find any evidence. Even just them having this kind of relationship, she just felt like he broke her trust. So they started therapy, and that's when Kristen really just went back and forth. She obviously loved this person and she wanted to try to work it out. She couldn't find any evidence that he had actually cheated. They were both sticking to the same story. And even though she was really upset, she decided to change her mindset and her approach on the situation and love her husband more than she's ever had. She started reading books on how to get through things like this. She even started going to church, okay? She was hurting, but trying to go within and be better because of it in hopes that her marriage could grow. However, there was still some things that were just not adding up, and this time her husband started taking a lot of work trips. He didn't want to do therapy anymore, and she was just not feeling like he was a husband who was showing up, really wanting to work on his marriage, so she tried to leave. He begged and pleaded for her to stay, for them to work things out, and so she ended up going back and really tried to let it all go and not think about it anymore. Not me though. I started noticing on the other woman's TikTok that she was no longer married. The page wasn't about her and her husband anymore. It was just about her and her 3 dogs. And I started noticing that she was posting in Florida. She then posted a TikTok wearing my best friend's husband's shirt, and it really just popped the whole thing off. Let's just say I put on my FBI badge and the investigation officially began. People were commenting on her post saying, "Are you in this town? I know where that is." And it was the same town that my best friend and her husband were living in at the time. Not only that, but a lot of her posts that she was making, which of course, since all of this has come out, she has deleted almost everything on her page with her face or her personally, and it's just now about her and her dogs. However, at the time, she was posting pretty often, and a lot of her posts were almost identical to things that Kristen was posting. And this is where we're gonna start running out of time again, so let's just do part 3. So I start looking into this girl code psychology of why she was posting stuff like this. Either she was sending a public message to Kristen to let her know, giving her hints, or she just gave absolutely 0 fucks. The real kicker in the whole situation was that with her bus page, she created this sort of outlook on her life that she was living her best life with her 3 dogs, traveling solo, and having the best time of her life. Obviously, Kristen and I both saw these, and we just could not figure out why she would be posting things like this.
Yeah, I have to agree. I do think she was trying to send a subliminal message because that they still follow your social media presence. You just don't care, to be honest.
Even though there were some things that we just didn't have answers to, her and her husband at the time, so she thought, were in a really good place. He had kind of sort of convinced her that their marriage was better than ever and that they were more in love than ever. And the things that he did in this time, you would have also thought they were more in love than ever. Because of that, she just said, "I'm not going to look at this girl's stuff anymore. It's not good for me. I have to move on." And that's when the universe stepped in. In June, she posted a video for a plastic-free July, and the company that she was talking about reached out to her, asked her if they could post it and if she would send it to them through the WhatsApp. She didn't have the WhatsApp, so she went on her husband's phone and realized that his cellular data was turned off. She turned it back on and immediately got a notification, opened the WhatsApp, and this is when she found the message from the other woman. Get ready to pause so you can read.
And we're going to pause and read, y'all. So it says, "I miss you. I know I said it a million times, but I can't wait for the day we can be together. I feel like that will be the day I can finally relax and breathe again. Tried calling. I'm in Chiba with little service. But as soon as I get out, you can FaceTime." I'm guessing that's supposed to be a question. "I want to see your face." So for the simple fact that this girl is saying, "I can't wait for the day we can be together," she is absolutely posting subliminal messages to the wife, hoping that she can start some type of turmoil in the marriage because the wife has no idea what's going on. She's definitely trying to break their relationship up because I guess the husband won't move fast enough for her.
At this point, it was 9 months of investigation. No evidence, obviously. Kristen was tracking his location and all of his texts and phone calls, and she couldn't find anything in 9 months. Kristen immediately called the other woman, FaceTimed the other woman from his phone. When she answered, she saw that it was Kristen. She immediately hung up. Kristen then called back, and the first thing that the other woman said is, "What do you want?" Kristen said, "I just want the truth. Please just tell me the truth." And the other woman asked if they could meet up, and that's when we learned that she was conveniently staying 10 to 15 minutes away from where their bus was parked since January. Mind you, this was June. Once the other woman had learned that my best friend's husband was clearly lying to her, the stories weren't matching, the things that he was telling her just weren't the truth. Let's dive in more at part 4. The other woman had told Kristen that her husband had said that he was going to leave her in the fall, that they hadn't been intimate in over a year, and that he wasn't in love with her anymore, and just all of it was the furthest thing from the truth. She then proceeded to say that they had started having an affair 2 weeks into their travel last summer. And were having an affair the entire time they were traveling together. They cut off the affair once my best friend and him moved back to Florida, and he ended up reaching back out to the other woman through Spotify, and they picked back up with the affair in January, and that's why she moved down to Florida.
Damn, we gotta check Spotify now? I mean, I don't believe nothing this woman say, but I mean, I don't use Spotify, so I don't know if there's like a DM, if it's kind of like a social network as well as, I don't know, but I'm like, dang, we gotta check Spotify, Cash App, text messages, deleted text messages, Instagram DMs, Facebook Messenger, Snapchat stories, like, dang. That just let you know if a man want to cheat, baby, he gonna cheat, period. Spotify.
At this point, the other woman's freaking out because she's just finding out that her boyfriend is a liar. Whereas my best friend had felt like a prisoner for a year. She was made to believe that she was crazy. She was told things like, you're just never going to get through this. I didn't do anything. I swear on.
And that is the worst. Like, men that make you feel like you are crazy and you are just jumping to conclusions. And then when, of course, women's intuition, we figure out that we are right. It's like, how dare you make me feel just so crazy? Like my feelings weren't valid. Like they really want you to go insane or something. I don't know.
Everything. I never did it. And for a while, she started to believe that maybe it was all in her head. So as you can imagine, getting the truth, she just finally was at so much peace. The other woman, however, started absolutely freaking out. This is when she started sharing a lot of details in hopes to hurt Kristen, which just was absolutely mind-blowing to me. I will not be sharing those details. I will leave that up to Kristen if she wants to share it. But
girl. Okay, girl.
Just know they're extremely disturbing. After that, Kristen decided to bring the other one back to the bus. So they drove back to confront her husband, and my friend ultimately decided to leave and take her daughter to a safe place.
Oh, hell no. First of all, that little hussy is not getting in my car, driving back to my bus to confront my husband about the lies he told you. You the side piece. You decide to leave your husband with his mistress. You and your daughter leave so they can get it on and she can cry on his shoulder. Oh no, baby. Oh no. Ooh, child. Maybe I just haven't reached that level of peace or maturity. I don't know, but absolutely not.
And left the two alone to talk. And this is when she called me. She had sent me that screenshot of the conversation right away before she went to go meet up with her, and I had her location, and I was just kind of keeping tabs on her, making sure that she was okay while they were meeting. So by the time that she called me, obviously I was upset, I was crying, I was pissed. 9 months of investigation and 9 months of just putting my best friend through kind of a psych ward. Like, she literally felt like she was insane. She was made to believe that she could not trust her intuition, and that just don't sit right with me. The other woman did, however, go right up to the husband and ask, how could you lie to me? You said A, B, C, and it's just not the truth. And there was this huge standoff, and it was just messy. Okay, let's wrap this up in part 5.
How could you lie to me? Babe, y'all whole relationship is based on a lie. The foundation is literally on quicksand. The nerve. Bring back shame, please. Bring back shame.
After she called me, obviously the first thing that I wanted to know is why was she the one that left them there to talk? Like, the other woman was acting like she was the wife, that she was the one that felt betrayed and lied to, and it was just kind of insane. However, Kristen at this point immediately started crying, which I have not seen her do in quite some time, and just said, because I'm done. I'm just done. And just trying to imagine how she must have felt in that moment after a year of just feeling like she was absolutely insane. And within moments, her entire life was changing. There were friends keeping an eye on the husband and the other woman while they were talking, and said that they just seemed like they were fighting and the other woman was really upset. We later learned that their conversation ended with the husband promising the other woman that he was going to work on himself in hopes that they could be together again. And then he came right into the bus, called Kristen, saying that he wanted to be with Kristen and was crying and wanted to make things work with her. Obviously, the two women shared that story with each other, and the other woman became even more upset. During this time, I was seeing red. My friend...
The other woman is acting like she's the wife, exactly how she said it. And to be honest, honey, if his wife decides to leave, of course he's going to be with you. You're the rebound chick. He had no plans, no intentions on leaving his wife and his daughter for you. Eat your fucking heart out. Excuse my French, but cry me a freaking river.
Was trying to come from this as an approach of, I am not going to let this take me down. I'm going to stay strong. And that's when I pretty much just grabbed the wrath by the reins and took to her account and commented as many comments as I could, trying to expose the story. What bothered me the most was this fake persona that she was putting on with her almost 3 million followers on TikTok, that she was living this great life, all while in reality she was hiding out 10 to 15 minutes away from her married boyfriend's bus, and it just didn't sit right. Not only that, but throughout the whole meeting and even after they met up and she was talking with the husband, the entire time she played the victim. She wanted people to feel bad for her, including Kristen. She was confiding in Kristen like she had found out that her boyfriend was cheating on her, and just all of it was absolutely insane. Ultimately, there was absolutely no remorse on this other woman's end. It didn't feel like she was really sorry. It didn't feel like it was a time for her to come clean and say that she was, sorry. It was more about, oh my God, I can't believe that I just caught my married boyfriend in a lie. And it looks like we're gonna need just one more part. After everything happened, my best friend did leave her husband, and she and her daughter are staying with a couple of friends who opened their home up to her, not too far from where their bus was parked. I did learn on Thursday that the other woman is still parked in the same place. She has not left, and that's really just what put some fire up in my ass too.
He has another bus to go to. Take your bus and your baby and you leave. I mean, it's probably a nice change to have a steady home, for her daughter, but kick his behind out. Why should you have to uproot everything? But hey, whatever.
That video on Thursday. I will say that I do not agree with the cancel culture. I agree with allowing people to make mistakes and coming out in front of everyone, admitting what they did wrong, and choosing to change their character and their behavior because of it.
This woman, the type of woman that the mistress is, will never change her behavior. There is zero accountability here. She does not feel bad. You said in the previous clip, she does not have remorse for what she did. She feels like she's the victim. People like that won't change the error to their ways. They rather run than confront what they did head on and say that, hey, I'm wrong and I'm a dirtbag. And so, yes, something like cancel culture, is definitely needed. So when she said at the very first clip, the girl getting death threats, no, I don't agree with that. Life is life. There's nothing new under the sun. But what you can do to show that you don't support what somebody does is, stop following their page. Stop supporting them. Stop commenting under their stuff. Like if they're selling products, refuse to spend your money with them. That is exactly how you can let someone know that you don't agree with who they are morally. Like, absolutely cancel. Baby is canceled. Christmas is canceled. Period. Psh, please, y'all want to be too politically correct on these apps for me.
However, this is just, in my opinion, we're never going to get that from either one of these participants. And my little man woke up, so it's time for me to wrap this up. I do just want to say that none of this was for me to gain followers. I'm really not that interesting. If you do want to follow along with the story and get more information, please go follow Kristen, support her in her journey. It really meant so much to her to get so much love from you guys, and just really can't thank you enough. Again, please no death threats for either one of them. Let's just all sip the tea and play ball.
Baby, we sipped the tea all right, and she did a great job telling the story. So I had to find Kristen, and I'm about to pull her up. Okay, y'all, so this is Kristen, definitely beautiful woman. She also has a couple of clips somewhat alluding to the fact that her husband cheated on her. This is probably one clip that she actually went into some type of detail about her ordeal. Let's check it out.
Eventually, I will share the details. I just want to be very careful about how and when I do this for several reasons, but I guess mainly because I want to show up as a healed person trying to help other women or men who are going through a cheating situation when I finally share everything to help them get through what they're going through, and not show up as a hurt person seeking revenge on these people. And right now I feel like pretty healed because I was lied to for a very long time, and so the truth really feels like peace for me. But there are still moments where like hurt comes through, so I'm still working on that. But I do need to say that the way that I worded it in that other video kind of makes it sound like he cheated on me with a man, and he didn't. So the friend was our friend. We actually traveled in a bus for 3 years. And for 2 of those years, it was probably the best time of my entire life. Like, it was wonderful. We were this great family having this just amazing adventure together. And then we met up with this married couple and their dogs because we thought they seemed cool. And cool, like, they look cool on the internet, they had a big following on Instagram, and they were TikTok famous and lived in a bus. And so we thought, oh, let's meet up with them. And then that's where we met her, and we traveled with them for 3 months, and they were having an affair for, started 2 weeks into our travels. And yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, she was actively trying to be my friend while she was having an affair with my husband, which is really just bizarre to me. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to go down because, I know, cheating, really, the person who needs to be held accountable is the person who did the cheating on you. But also, I feel like when there is a friendship involved with the person being cheated on, the person who knows that you're married and that you have a family and is trying to be your friend still while sleeping with
the lowest of the low, the dirtiest of the dirt, the foulest of the foul, the scummiest of the scum, the whoriest of the whores, the skankiest of the skanks. Need I go on? I didn't think so. Y'all got the point.
Partner. I don't know. They need to be held accountable too, So, yeah. I'll share more details when I feel comfortable doing that. But right now, my goals are just to keep my daughter and my dog and myself safe, and to heal from this trauma that I just went through, get a divorce, and start building a new life for me and my daughter and dog.
She seems like a beautiful, meek personality, humble person. Crap like this seems to always find the best people. So, y'all, I really didn't want to give this lady no airtime for real, but here we go.
Can you feel it? My sweet love. Just like the air I breathe.
Downgrade. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, y'all. I'm gonna stop it right here. Let me know what you would have done. Again, this last clip of the lady and the guy, I don't know if that's him. I don't know these people. But you can do your own little investigation if you want to. The story is pretty popular. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the commentary, definitely like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that way when videos post like this, you can be all in the tea with me and we're going to talk about it. But until next time, y'all, bye.